Hi, welcome. I'm Maura Eliza with Flex Health with Maura, and today we're here with Leah, and she is going to share a little bit about her experience with bioresonance feedback therapy. Leah, I'm going to let you just go ahead and start off. Let's just start with giving us a little bit of history about what you've been through on your health journey and bring us all the way up to shortly before we started bioresonance feedback.
Yeah, so I have had generally, I would say, good health. I haven't had any major issues, through my 20s and like early 30s, I was doing pretty good. Um, and then I had my second child about almost 8 years ago, and had some major issues with breastfeeding, with low supply, low energy. And then got through that, managed it okay, got some donated milk, things like that. But there was never any answers for that from the medical community and whatnot. And it was just like thought of from the breastfeeding community, well, some people just have low supply. And then I ended up having a major swelling reaction. My feet and hands, and then my arms and legs became extremely swollen when my daughter was nearing her first birthday. And I was at complete loss, but then, swollen ankles could mean heart issues and all this stuff. So went to my general practitioner and started off on a very expensive road of testing for blood flow, for heart issues, ultrasounds all over the body, and there's really no answers. I had originally thought that it was a pesticide reaction. I'm in a rural community, and I had mistakenly gone into a field that had been sprayed too close to the time I went in there. So I was like, this has got to be a pesticide reaction. And the doctor's like, no, that could not be it. After
There's an
thousands of
allopath of
dollars
that.
of testing, they finally said, huh?
It was an allopath that said, no, it can't be pesticide.
Right. It was the
A
general
Western medicine doctor.
practitioner, like right. That was like, no, I can't make that connection. I remember him like doing this. It's like his brain could not make that connection.
Yeah, they don't
That doesn't
recommend
make a
CPC
connection.
poisoning either.
Right. It's like, and I live in a rural community, and it's like, how many people are exposed to pesticides and various agricultural issues and stuff? So, yeah, and so ended up being a hypothyroidism issue, and they were like, yeah, this could be a symptom, like the swelling. And so I was put on a pharmaceutical for hypothyroidism, and it wasn't getting any better. And my heart was then, I was having heart palpitations on top of it, and the swelling continued so badly where I couldn't walk up and down stairs. There was so much swelling going on around my feet. At the same time, I'm holistically minded, so I was going to a chiropractor and working on some nutritional support, digestive enzymes. She was trying to clear out the lymphatic system, and it's like my lymphatic spots, like where it releases your like those areas were getting so tender. It's like I was completely blocked. So I ended up going to getting some NAET, the allergy elimination technique, and it was pesticides, because the chiropractor was like, didn't you mention pesticides? I was like, the doctor said that it wasn't that. And she was like, why don't you trust your intuition on this and see if it is that. Overnight, I lost 5 pounds in water weight
Oh my.
after my first treatment. And it was, like I only went 2 times. It was like got the session done 2 times. It completely cleared my system, lost like all of this water weight, could walk up and down the stairs. I was like, this is incredible.
So to be clear, that's the NAET. This is before you met me. That's not a service I provide, but
Yes,
keep
but
going. We love hearing this.
this is what turned me on to energy healing being a tangible thing in the body, not just not only like emotional and just feeling generally better is what I thought. That's kind of what I thought of energy healing before that. So this was like, oh my gosh, this can like literally change the body. So So it's all kind these are all to me related, there's some, these are kind of in the related umbrella of this like energy healing and stuff. And so um I cleared that and felt so much better, ended up getting off of the hypothyroidism medicine, and was feeling, and I've been feeling pretty good. And then yeah, and I also, do continued on with some like emotional energy healing and stuff. And but then it started, that's when things over the past, I would say 6 months or so, then things started getting cloudy in my thought process. So like that's when I got serious brain fog, and just feeling sluggishness. And that's when I decided to check out what you were doing.
Great. Okay. So you mentioned seeing a chiropractor, you mentioned enzymes, you mentioned the NAET. Can you still hear me? You're frozen on my end. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you're moving
I
again.
can hear you.
Okay. Okay, great. Were there any other kinds of practitioners that and you mentioned seeing Western medicine, what I call Uncle Joey medicine. Any other kinds of practitioners that you saw?
Um, Emotion code, body code, like the energy healing from that. Yeah, and that's, I would say that then became my health regimen, was yeah, chiropractic care and energy healing, body movement with yoga, and I always enjoyed sound healing too.
Great. So, sometimes people go through quite a journey just to get that diagnosis. You ended up on a hypothyroidism diagnosis. How did you get there? What kinds of investments did you have to make? What kinds of testing? How much did you spend just getting to the place where you got?
Yeah, that whole journey of figuring out why I was swelling, and then the thyroid test, the general blood work was, and that thyroid test was part of the general blood work I got. That all of that was at least $4,000 out of my pocket, and I had in good insurance, so that's always just such a loaded statement. Good insurance or not great insurance, it's all pretty
And so
awful.
that was just testing. That wasn't even the medication or anything like that.
No, and I would say the thyroid medicine it's not a super expensive medicine, like levothyroxine, I think was what I was on. A man, like maybe $30 a month, something like that. Like I don't remember it being really, but that was with insurance, as a, because I remember one time I did go and they were like, it'll be 200 something, some amount that I was like, whoa, I can't, I'm not paying that today. And so yeah, so it's a medication that insurance covers. It is really the thyroid issues are widely diagnosed and widely medicated.
Right. And we're talking about cost issue like money, but then there's also the cost of the other effects of the medication and what that does to the rest of your body and things like that, which is a cost that a lot of people don't take the time to look at. They don't read those inserts and, all of those things, or think like, what are my other opportunities or options to address that. So I'm glad that you were here.
Yeah. Well, and the reason why I went off of it is because I was, you're always messing with the dosage. And so they want to find the right number for you to get your numbers right. And I was having heart palpitations, and that was concerning to me. So then we took down the dosage and they did the follow-up testing. My numbers weren't right. My thyroid numbers weren't right. So then they wanted to increase it. And then I was like, but that number is what gave me the heart palpitations. Like I'd be laying in bed like, oh my, this isn't right. Like this is scary. And the response was, okay, well, give us a call if that gets worse.
You're like,
And
okay, that gets worse.
yeah, it's like, what, when I have a heart attack, when I'm like have like heart failure at age, I'm in my 30s, like, what are you talking about? And that is the last time I ever went to an allopathic doctor. So there, I was done with that. Looked into all, supporting it with nutrition,
Yeah.
and have, I feel like in general managing it well. And then, but brain fog is definitely, it's a symptom, typical symptom of thyroid issues. And also, I also maybe say yes to too many things. I have a full plate. And what I am, a mom, I'm a working mom, and all, those type of things. I think we all have full plates, but that combination was becoming hard to manage.
Yeah. And I am glad that you're going so into such detail, because even though the bioresonance feedback does not ask for any symptoms, like I literally just input your name, your birthday, your gender, and or your sex rather, and sometimes if you know your blood type, that's all the information it asks for. And your thyroid did come up, and so that was where I did a lot of the deep work throughout the time that we were working. So I know you said that before we got started, and you just did a month of sessions, so you did 12 sessions. You were having a lot of brain fog. It was starting to impair your day-to-day function. How are you feeling now?
Wonderful. It's awesome. I'm busy. This is like the busiest time of the year. We are pumpkin farmers. We're harvesting everything. Plus, there's all of the active family activities in the fall and just all of that. But I I feel like I'm managing it, and I'm like giving myself grace. It's like I'm like, okay, I'm just able to see clearly. Like before, it was like I knew I had the list, I had to move forward on this path of my day, but it literally was such a deep, dense fog. I was like, I don't know what to do first. I don't know how to prioritize. I just couldn't get through it. So then there was just this constant overwhelm, and not being able to like be in the present moment because I was so foggy. And so now it's like, okay, we're gonna do this and do that, and I've got the long to-do list. But it's like, okay, that's manageable, and I'm able to see it clearly and then take what I need to off the plate, and or say that's okay to move it to the next day. And which is like somewhat common sense, I think, to many people. But when you're in some deep, dense brain fog, and I had never experienced that even like before, it wasn't one of my symptoms, earlier on. This was a newer one for me. So I don't know if it was just shifts in my body, and, it was just, I was needing some balance and I found it.
Great, great. How soon did you notice those changes? I mean, we did just 12 sessions. Do you remember how quickly?
Right. I would say about halfway through is when I was like, ooh, like when I was really it was starting to clear. Yeah, like the first, like I would the first several, you would say like we're doing it, and I would feel something going on, more like tingly, like I felt like something was happening in my body, um but no like shift in like the symptom. But then after, yeah, about halfway through is when I was like, wait a second. I think I'm feeling more energy. I think I'm feeling clearer. And then, yeah, by the end, then I was like, holy, like I almost didn't realize how bad it was, until it got better.
Yeah, so you could kind of, because this device, you don't have to come in. It's done through quantum entanglement as a remote service. And so you're saying you're one of the people that could kind of feel the tingliness whenever it was actually going on. Not everybody feels that. It
Yeah.
works either way, but yeah, you would actually feel it. And I think during,
Yeah, I would be like, okay, something's happening. And I do, I'm pretty familiar with energy work. So I think I'm like in tune with that type of stuff. It is really fun to feel it, and to, I'm open to that stuff happening. I like to be aware of it. And I would say it wasn't all, I didn't always feel something, but I did sometimes, and but it was still, yeah, it was, I know it was working every time because of the culmination of the effect of it.
I think there was one or two times at the beginning where you're like, I got up and I cleaned my house till 1 o'clock.
Yes, that first time, I think it was the first time I was like, I couldn't sleep. I was buzzing so much from it. That's right. I kind of forgot about that. But like it was like that that immediate effect was, and then we were even like, should we do it in the evening? And I think my body kind of normalized with it. Like it was like but it was that first like clearing, and I was like, yeah, I stayed up and yeah, I got crossed off some more stuff off that to-do list, which was helpful.
And, I find a lot of people, even when they do have, they're up for a long time, um, and they're in the middle, either I've done the actual session on them that day, or I was working on them when they had that kind of extra awake feeling, that even the next morning still feel really refreshed. Like I don't feel like I was up for 2 hours in the middle of the night, but I was. Was that,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
did,
I did notice that. It wasn't like, oh man, I'm dragging the next day. It was like, yeah, that was crazy. I didn't like sleep. I couldn't fall asleep. I just kept going. I was feeling good. So it
good.
wasn't like it wasn't a jittery type of thing. Like if you drink that, strong coffee at 5 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So, and then you're like up and you're like, this sucks.
Oh, that was another thing you mentioned the other day about your coffee drinking.
Yeah, it just I've been wanting to bring it down, and I felt like I since I'm not needing to go or like force myself to keep going, then I've been able to bring down the coffee. So I like today I drank my water, I enjoyed my cup of coffee, and then I just made a hot tea and enjoyed that, and so it's not like pouring the coffee to survive.
Nice. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what would you say to anybody who is considering bioresonance feedback therapy?
I would say go for it because it's super convenient. It's about as convenient as you can get. It's happening remotely. It's non-invasive. So there's just, I mean, really no risk. And yeah, and it also it's yeah, like it brings insight too. Like you were telling me there was like teeth, like my teeth kept showing up.
Mm.
So, like, because you can, like, it's the machine's reading where those, we just call them weak areas, or, and so that was really interesting too. So I got more insight into where my body does need supports. So adding the oil pulling, and I've got some other stuff for my teeth that's going. So yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things is that we don't have to guess anymore because the device tells us where there's stress. So, we tend to think about the liver so much. I find a lot of pancreas stuff, and that's a different. They're not a different world. They work together, but if you're working on the liver, but the pancreas is more stress, then you want to target. You're going down the wrong path. So I love that part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Any other closing thoughts or anything else you'd like to say about it?
Oh, no, I guess I shared quite a bit. I liked.
Yeah, yeah. It
No,
was wonderful.
it's good. Yeah, I appreciate you, Mara. It's been you're just a wealth of knowledge, and it's and the insight, and I love it. So I appreciate your help.
Oh, well, thank you. And thanks for joining and sharing your story.